and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I would like to cover the Mighty Marvel Masterworks format published by Marvel Comics, featuring reprints of some of their most classic titles. I'm going to take a closer look at the Black Panther Volume 1 in particular, but I have four here that I own, and I actually plan to get more of these in 2024, adding them to my collection because it's just a really neat portable format. It's affordable. They are at this point $15.99, so $16 each, and you get a pretty nice selection of issues. For instance, this one includes Strange Tales 110 and 111 and 114 to 129. Now, this is a little misleading because those stories are half or even one-third length issue stories from that title, because that title featured Doctor Strange and I think the Human Torch. So this one's a bit misleading, but if we look at the Amazing Spider-Man, we can see that it collects Amazing Fantasy 15 and the Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 10. So you're getting about 11, 12 issues per volume, depending on the comic. And it's nice paper. It is a bit slick, but not quite as shiny as maybe some traditional Marvel Masterworks are. I do really like this format, though, because of its portability and its affordability. It's really great. Let's take a closer look at the Black Panther Mighty Marvel Masterworks Volume 1. I love this cover by Michael Cho. Each one has a cover that is by Michael Cho or another modern artist, but they also have some that have variant covers, and the variant cover is the classic art. So this Avengers one is the classic Kirby artwork. And these other ones are all the Michael Cho, the main covers of the Michael Cho artwork. So this particular Black Panther Volume 1 collects FF 52 to 54 and issue 66. Tales of Suspense 97 to 99. I think those are Captain America stories. Cap number 100. Avengers 52, 62, and I believe 73 and 74. There's a misprint there. And Daredevil 52. So this has got a nice mix of stories and creators here. So Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Roy Thomas, John Buscema are our principals listed. And we can see here, really nice in frame of our camera, the some of the front matter in the table of contents. So yeah, so we have titles ranging from 1966, the Fantastic Four number 52, all the way through 1970, Avengers 74, March of 1970, that was published. So some of his early appearances in the Avengers. And yeah, we'll take a closer look here. So this is really great. Just classic. I mean, by this time, this is the fourth year of Kirby and Lee's partnership on the Fantastic Four, and they're just absolutely at the height of their powers and crushing it here. And we get the sort of revolutionary introduction of this character, this African character. And Marvel wasn't really known for a lot of black faces at that time in their comics. People of color were not seen very often. In fact, Kirby, I think, in one anecdote, he wanted to draw people of color in crowd scenes, and Marvel would just color them as Caucasian people. And I don't know if out of habit or laziness. But here we have a prominent black character, a really cool one with a great backstory. And this is his incredible debut. And he literally hunts the FF in an attempt to prove himself, along with Wyatt Wingfoot, Johnny Storm's college roommate. And he would be a main sort of supporting character for the FF for years. But great sequence here. The Panther has secretly weakened the thing using the waters provided in his high-tech jungle as he's hunting them. That liquid is but one of many traps I've prepared to sap your strength. Sap it just enough so that we two can battle hand to hand. For in any equal match, the Black Panther is certain to win. Say you and Richards didn't go to the same prep school or something, did you? It's most unlikely. Why? You both got the same cornball habit. You can talk a guy to death while you're fighting him. Perhaps, but I can do far more than talk. As you shall see, among other things, I have long been the boxing champion of this entire continent. Well, goody for you. Walk. So there he lays one on the thing. So they brawl. And a really great Wide Wingfoot gets to come into his own here using his natural tracking abilities and athleticism to really aid the FF in this time of need. Here, Panther goes at it with Mr. Fantastic in the darkness here. Then the entire FF reassemble. Then, minutes later, after the mighty masked jungle mystery man has accepted the startling turn of fate. What happens to him now? He promised not to launch any new attack against us. We can all stand back now. A man such as the Black Panther does not give his word lightly, nor does he dishonor once given. But I think you might remove your mask now and tell us what this is all about. I shall do as you say. My mask is not for the concealment, but rather a symbol of my panther power. Now that the hunt is over, the game is ended, I shall offer you the explanation, for you have earned it indeed. I am, as you see me, hereditary chieftain of the Wakandas, and perhaps the richest man in all the world. But it has not always been so. My tale is one of tragedy and deadly revenge. So issue 53, the FF are feted by the Black Panther and the people of the Wakandas, and we'll get to learn more about his origin. And we get to meet the dastardly sound-controlling villain Claw. Here's some of his sonic creations, which really lets Kirby's imagination run wild and create some really cool creatures. And the reproduction value on these collections is really high. No less so than in the Masterworks editions themselves. So very cool stuff. And we learn of the T'Chaka, the Panther's father, and the tragedy that befell them. And T'Challa would become his successor. And here we have the FF taking on Claw's solid sound creations. Very cool. And the Panther is going to get in on the action too to get his revenge. And here is Claw in his untransformed form. This is before he becomes the sort of weird being of pure sound. And here he has his patented Claw Blaster. Very cool. You see the Panther getting in on the action more here. A couple of friends of mine were talking about this format, and one friend whose opinion I respect quite a bit, he doesn't like the smaller size. And just to give you some perspective, here is an Epic collection, and here are the Mighty Marvel Masterworks. So you can see they're a good inch, maybe inch and a half smaller all around than the Epic collections. But I think that's a selling point for this. Not only is it affordable, Epic collections are $50 now. These are $16. Yes, you're only getting perhaps a third of the content, but it's in a very digestible form. You could take it on a trip with you. You could throw it in your bag, take it to work, read it at lunch. There are a lot of benefits to a package like this. And I like the idea of Marvel packaging their reprints in different ways so that people can absorb them in different ways. I don't like omnibuses. I've made that clear on this channel. I own exactly one omnibus. It's the official handbook of the Marvel Universe Volume 1 omnibus. I own it because it's skinny. I don't find the general omnibus format to be at all palatable. You can't sit and read it easily. You have to have it on a table. The paper is heavy and slick, so I'm not really sanguine on how long any omnibus's binding is going to hold up, even with a sewn binding, on repeated readings. And I just find the format to be cumbersome. But what I think about the omnibuses doesn't matter. If you like the completeness of an omnibus collection, the inclusion of the letter pages, which I do think is great, and a lot of the other important matter that gets left out of other reprint editions, that's what they're there for. That's for you. And that's why I think these collections will find their fandom too. They will find their audience. And in doing so, Marvel will succeed in further getting their classic comics out there. And for me, it's great too, because I don't buy a lot of new comics. I don't find new comics to be particularly, they're just not my style. I like the old school means of storytelling. I like the old means of production. I don't like modern computer coloring. I don't like, obviously, slick paper. I don't like the way stories are all packaged to go in trades now. So those things being said, this stuff is for me, and I love having reprints that I can pursue and buy and look forward to coming out. Volume 2 of this is coming out in January of 2024, and I'm really excited for that because I've already looked at the contents on Amazon, and man, it's got a lot of cool stuff I want to read, a lot more Avengers stories, which are totally great. That Panther was featured pretty heavily in the Avengers leading up to issue 100, so he was a mainstay of the group. A lot of good John Buscema. Here we have more Kirby. Some Inhumans where you saw on the previous page. Here's Claw in his transformed state. He's relating what happened to him now. He's a pretty crazy looking character, really. Another brilliant Jack Kirby design. I mean, Kirby really, the Marvel Universe just wouldn't be what it is today without Jack Kirby. We all know that. But, you know, the stories crafted around Kirby's character creation and layouts, the dialogue and scripts from Stan Lee, they had a synchronicity to them, the two of them as creators, that made this stuff the genius work that it was and still is. Look at that. Pathoom. Crack. I love the Kirby thing. It's great, too, how I like how the thing, while monstrous, he's 6 feet, 500 pounds. He's not gigantic. And I like how Kirby drew him accessible like that. And it's really cool when Kirby draws him next to the Hulk, how much bigger the Hulk is. I pointed that out in the past. Nowadays, I think people draw the thing he's way too large. Here he is getting blasted by Claw. There's Wyatt again. Oh, I love this. Mr. Fantastic. Yeah, it's so great. You don't always get to see Mr. Fantastic cut loose, but it's so great when he does. Vibranium, the one element which absorbs sonic energy. The one element against which even the Master of Sound has no defense. I knew the chieftain of the Wakandas wouldn't let me down, and he didn't. Your sonic blast is useless against me now, and you know it. So long as I wear these vibranium bands, your power is absorbed into nothingness. No, stay back, stay back. He's got these awesome vibranium knuckle dusters on. Love it the way Kirby draws Mr. Fantastic using his powers. I really think the only one as good as Kirby at drawing Mr. Fantastic in action would be John Byrne. Just totally great. Maybe Simonson, too, on his too brief run on the title. But yeah, really awesome. So next we have a story from Tales of Suspense. So this is going to be the Panther teaming up with Captain America, and what I consider to be a pretty cool natural team up. And we get great Jack Kirby with some awesome Synod inks. So who was inking Kirby in these FF stories? So this was Synod here too. I guess the first one was as well. Let me make sure. Yeah, Joe Synod. Joe Synod has been, or was for that time, he was just a mainstay in Marvel's bullpen of inkers for decades. Fantastic. He has that slick inking style that really can clean up any penciler's work, and you know it's distinctly Sinnot when you see it. Like, I can see these inks when he was inking Al Milgrom on the Avengers, cleaning up, excuse me, cleaning up Milgram's pencils. Just a really solid, slick line. Here we go. Look at all of these colors here. There are many figures moving just ahead, but never too many for me. Assassins, it was you who destroyed my outpost. The Black Panther, we were warned to steer clear of him. What's the difference? We outnumber him 6-1, and we're armed with stun bolt weapons, which can, Who is your leader? What is your mission? Speak, I command you. Oh, and here he's blasted by them. Eventually, Cap and the Panther, or there's Agent 13, Sharon Carter. Cap and the Panther get their introduction via video. Pretty great. Here he's pretty badly damaged, being ministered to by his people. So Cap is taking one of those patented Wakandan vehicles to go help the Panther. And they get the cover on this Tales of Suspense, Cap versus the Panther. Look at this. Oh, awesome splash page. Wow. A blistering ray from somewhere in space. It just missed the ship by inches. Warning. Prepare yourself for the unexpected shock of a lifetime, which awaits you at the conclusion of this cataclysmic chronicle. So we'll have to quickly page through and get to that shock, but we will linger a bit on the action here because it's just so good. So initially we have the two characters, of course, fighting, but then teaming up, because that's what happens in comics, obviously. And I love to see the two moving through the jungle together here. And here's some more of those coolly garbed thugs here with their stun blasters. They're not natives, they're foreign mercenaries, but who led them? By whom? Oh, I love this 4-panel sequence here from Jack. Really cool. We saw that when I did my read-through of the Captain America album issue, Captain America 112, which I just did recently. Check that one out if you're interested. It's a great, quickie 16-minute video of a great story. And of course, Baron Zemo. He is the one behind these guys. So the next Tales of Suspense, Iron Man gets billing on the cover, but of course we're concerned with this story, with the Panther. And here we have Sid Shores inking, and you can definitely see a difference in the Sid Shores inks on the Kirby pencils. Not bad, just different. Again, that 4-panel arrangement, really cool. The action here is just fast and furious. Everything is so vital and vigorous. So Zemo is going to duke it out a little bit with Cap here. And the Panther, one of his patented karate chops. Really cool. I love that Panther's mask there. Every now and then, Kirby will do a panel where you can see his eyes, which is cool. And then here it's back to the white slits. A kind of shorthand, I'm sure. Next, the fatal ending. Oh, and this is great too, because here we have a redo. This is Captain America 100. So Cap pretty much gets his own title, keeping the numbering of, I believe, of Tales of Suspense. Yes, that was Tales of Suspense 99. And then with issue 100, it becomes, of course, Captain America's title. Very famous issue, which begins with a replay of Cap's modern reemergence into society. And I love this sequence. I think I've talked about it in the past. It would be awesome to do a whole show where I just kind of gather up the different versions of this particular sequence of events and just talk about them, how the different artists portray them after Kirby. Really great. I love seeing Giant Man's hands reach through the airlock and grab the comatose Cap, pulling him from the frigid waters. Awesome. And here Cap comes back too. Who's inking this one? Sid Shores again. Yeah, I could tell it wasn't Sinnot. Really great. Just awesome action here. Kirby, just the way he draws the pugilistic action of these characters is, it's just so pulse pounding, so vibrant. Look at all these guys. And again, this format, oh, this guy's really cool. This format really does the job. I don't miss the couple of inches of size that we're losing, and I like what we're getting in return. The value, the portability. It's a winning format for me. So now we're getting into Avengers 52. We're going to see some great John Buscema. Here we have the Panther with his altered mask. This doesn't last long, where they have the more open face mask. I'm thinking this is Panther's first issue on the Avengers as he infiltrates their base at Avengers Mansion. And here we have Vince Colletta inks on some Buscema pencils, which are nice. I would, of course, prefer Giacoya or Tom Palmer, especially on Buscema's pencils at this period. But a lot of people think, oh, John Buscema, Tom Palmer, that first run in the 60s. But it was really a lot of George Klein, Frank Giacoya, Vince Colletta. There was 8 or 9 Palmer issues, but not as many as you think. Yeah, and so you get, like with the Colletta inks, you get a little less Buscema here. Grim Reaper in his original costume. It's almost like a Green Goblin glider there he's got going. Always a cool Avengers villain. Probably got more menacing than he really had a right to be, because he was really just a gadget villain. But man, he's got a good history though. He's Simon Williams, Wonder Man's brother. And here we see Wonder Man appearing again in the pages of the Avengers. This might be the first time since Avengers 9 or 10 that we've seen Wonder Man in the pages. He'll later come back, I think, in 131 as a member of the Legion of the Unliving. But here we just see him in a flashback. So Panther is going to prove himself to the Avengers and eventually take his place as a member. For now, the Panther is truly an Avenger. Really great. So now we jump to Avengers 62, the Monarch and the Man-Ape. So here we have, George Klein. I much prefer these George Klein inks to those Vince Colletta inks on Buscema's pencils. Much prefer. And here we have, again, another artist's interpretation of the high-tech jungle that is in Wakanda. And we're going to meet M'Baku the Man-Ape. Great shot of Hawkeye without his cowl on here. Very cool. And, of course, everyone's drugged. I'm not sure how it affected the vision, but I'm not going to waste too much time on that. And, of course, the Man-Ape is very powerful. He missed me, as if on purpose, and splintered that tree behind me. But what is the source of his newfound incredible strength? No matter now. First, with the speed of the beast whose name I bear, the Black Panther must strike. But Panther is not a physical match for the Man-Ape. Man-Ape can lift press 10 tons, and the Panther can lift press 750 pounds. So he is not going to be able to match in a direct physical confrontation. He's going to have to use more speed, guile, and cunning. Here he is uprooting a whole tree. But Panther does use some of that cunning to surprise him. Again, his power is on display here, the Man-Ape's power. Panther persisting, fighting back. The Black Panther has heard such dire mouthings before, as he has fought alongside the Fantastic Four, Captain America, the Mighty Avengers. So here he is striking back. And the Vision breaks out as only he can. They rescue the Panther, but the Man-Ape is crushed, seemingly. So they have these little outros here at the end of the stories to lead into the next story, which is kind of cool. After the battle with M'Baku, T'Challa returns to New York with the Avengers, where he teams up with another hero. So here we have a Daredevil issue, and we get to see some really cool Barry Smith artwork in this one with Johnny Craig inks. It's a Barry Smith cover too. And this is very cool. The villain in this story is kind of weak, but the artwork is incredible. I mean, look at this. This is phenomenal Barry Smith artwork. And I wonder if Barry Smith is coloring this too, because it has an artistic sort of flair to it. Because Barry Smith was known to color his own work on occasion. And I wonder if he might have done the colors on this. They didn't credit the colorist, unfortunately, in these issues. Here's Yellow Jacket. By that time, Hank Pym had become Yellow Jacket. See my last video on the Hank Pym Grand Design from Avengers 227. That's a cool reprise of Hank Pym's career in just a few pages by Sal Buscema. Really cool. But yeah, this is phenomenal work by Barry Smith. And again, really well produced in this Mighty Marvel Masterworks format. This villain, I wish this story featured someone other than just a gun-toting dude. I haven't read this story that closely, so I can't give you a ton of background on this guy, but to me, he doesn't do a lot for me in terms of his appearance. Great full page shot here of Daredevil and T'Challa, the Black Panther, leaping through New York City at night. Very cool. And since I still could only guess at the issues involved, I'll take my leave. But since your flippancy does not mask your torment from me, and since you may yet be slightly ill, I shall retrace my steps and follow you. So he's still wants to help Daredevil out, but he's going to do it secretly. But he doesn't really need to. He just watches. And he learns that Matt Murdock is Daredevil. So here we're back to Avengers. While Daredevil and the Avengers exploits continue in America and beyond, T'Challa returns to Wakanda. Great issue of Avengers here, 73, where he fights the racist Sons of the Serpent. Great sort of like issues, public issues issue. And this one is interesting because we get rare Frank Giacoia pencils and Sam Granger inks. So Frank Giacoia, much commonly more known as an inker, does some really credible penciling here. Great storyteller, good figure work. Yeah, nice stuff from Frank Giacoia. Sort of reminds me a bit of a cross between maybe a Don Heck and Sal Buscema in that in his style. And Sam Granger is a great underrated inker too for this period. Love that Hawkeye as Goliath here. Really cool. And Yellow Jacket pitching in. Pretty awesome. And then we get a John Buscema, Tom Palmer, Team Supreme combo in issue 74. And again, all this written by Roy Thomas. Look at that. This is the best version of John Buscema here with Tom Palmer doing the inking. Really cool. And again, the format is dynamite. They're going to get revenge here on the Sons of the Serpent. And here is Yellow Jacket shrunken down. Not only do we have All Night Goliath, Hank, but I've already pinpointed him for you on the roof. Easy on the tonsils, big man. I'm fragile at this size. Really cool. the end? Hardly. So the Sons of the Serpent are finished in this issue, but there's more to come in volume 2, I'm sure. So, what a great format. That has been my look at the mighty Marvel Masterworks, the Black Panther volume 1. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. And I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.